Hello world, we're here with Chapter 5 of Armageddon, Knight in Shining Armor. And in ways I think this is quite a bit better than Chapter 4. In ways kind of nothing happens, so it's kind of a lot worse. Let's get into it and see what happens, shall we? You don't know how to... Everybody out! Now! Plane's going down. Old Fusey will be right with you. I love this page. I think this is a really, really good panel. The sound effects for this chapter are also pretty good, but as has been the pattern sort of throughout Armageddon, they're just a little too slow between each one. They take a little while to convey the sound they're trying to do. Well, she always did give it a fair crack, that Maggie. And again, I love this panel. Like, here the black and white style actually seems to fit really well, and it's got a really strong dynamic pose. It's a shame that fuck all actually happens this chapter. The plane crashes, and Maggie jumps out of a plane. That's it. The art style feels a lot more appropriate for this chapter, though. Like, this and this page feel kind of uncolored. The stark silhouettes here, though, make it feel a lot more distinctly like an art style choice. This here, the like massive absent sort of white sections, reminds me a lot of like distinct sort of manga stylings, particularly like the artist for Bleach and Seven Deadly Sins. Those two manga use a lot of this sort of huge open space to convey sort of important incidents going down and sort of the impact of scale, right? Like, this is an impactful frame. Like, this is essentially Fuse like decades ago, wanting to live a normal, happy life and suffering at the endless cycle of violence. Do you know? I like some things about this chapter. Again, the night sky, I love the art style they've gone with for some of this sort of second half of Armageddon. I love the sort of angular, sort of almost goofy iteration of Maggie here, and how they've actually managed to bring the glass actually into being part of the panel itself. That's pretty cool, at least like visually. But yeah, this is the prime sort of moment of this chapter in itself. Maggie actually turning up, which is, yeah, what we expected. But the way that she's framed here, and the fact that she's lugging around a pair of rocket launchers, does make me wonder if she could become a legend through them at least showing like ideas about her kit. I've made my point like a few times. I don't think Maggie should become a legend because of the character she presents. Like, joining the games would make her the very Syndicate dog that she calls everyone else. Like, it's so thoroughly like opposed to her ideals that I don't think she'd ever join the games. But as everything is always in flux, these characters are designed to grow and change over time. If Maggie were to be a legend, for one, I'd claim rocket launcher would be a pretty good ultimate to use, especially as Rampart and Fuse have proven that bringing a special weapon can just kind of count as an ultimate, right? Same sort of idea as how like Caustic's ultimate is just a different grenade in a way, right? But that's pretty basic. What could you do with that to make her more interesting? That's just sort of like big burst damage, like big AoE burst damage, right? What if it was something a bit more like Raze from Valorant, in that if you were to explode a rocket at your feet, you can actually bounce across the map and give her some inherent mobility? As I'm going to move into a tactical idea here, Satchel charge, as seen in Titanfall, as seen again with Raze from Valorant, and our good old Overwatch friend Junkrat, giving Maggie a sort of detonatable satchel charge that she can control when it goes off, and that is used more to displace enemies or give her her own inherent mobility rather than deal damage. I think you've got a pretty cool sort of mix between the mobility legends and sort of an offensive, destructive legend like Fuse in Maggie then. To allow that kit to work, where she's using her own explosions for mobility, I think you should really give her a passive where she's immune to her own explosions or even her own grenades. So she can also use things like frag grenades to give herself mobility. And you could maybe then give her some sort of damage resistance to enemy explosives. sort of like a flak jacket sort of passive, kind of thing that makes her pretty distinctly antithetical to Fuse, right? But again, I don't think she's going to become a legend because of the character that she is. But yeah, there's a pretty cool sort of explosive mobility kit hiding in this idea, I think. I think that's a pretty just stark concept in and of itself. Would I like to see Maggie as a legend? Yeah, she's got a great voice actress, she's got great attitude, she's fun. I'd be very glad to have Maggie in, especially as a representative of war and the sort of troubles that it causes you. Especially when you're trying to fight for the rights of your own home planet, right? Her and Fuse actually being in the games together allows them to sort of bounce off each other and develop this whole conflict more. I like the idea more and more as I'm exploring it now. But yeah, for the basis of the character that we have, I don't think Maggie will become a legend. I think she's better served as a supporting character in this context. But that could all change. Armageddon might be here literally to develop her out enough to change that, to give her enough of a reason to become a legend. What you'd have to change there, like the Syndicate giving Salvo back to her if she competes, or, do you know, like, they'd have to make a deal to make that actually work. Something would have to change. But that's something to look forward to in the future then. Pretty promising, personally. Way more so than I ever really would have thought. Yeah, Maggie, the explosive mobility legend, could be on the cards. Let's hope, right? I mean, I'm super down with that, just through reading this chapter alone. And I thought that nothing fucking happened this chapter. Just this panel enough has been more than enough to actually get me pretty excited. But, with that, that's enough out of me for today. Got a whole other week till the next chapter. We might get a continuation of Bangalore and Wraith in the meantime, which I'm never not going to be psyched for, right? Thank you for staying with me, friends. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of Knight in Shining Armor today. Take care of yourselves out there, teammates. And may the glorious light of Beskil shine within you. Bye-bye.